In Paris, the city of light, where the air is filled with creativity, a son, Henri Gervex, was born to Josephine Peltier and Félix Nicolas Gervex, a piano maker. This day, September 10th, 1852, was the beginning of a life that would be filled with colors, light, and expression. Henri grew up in a family that belonged to the French bourgeoisie. Paris at that time was full of life and artistic ideas, so from an early age he was surrounded by sophisticated culture and architectural masterpieces. Since childhood, he often watched the light gliding through the streets of Paris, recreating the play of shadows and colors that would later influence his art. Passionate about drawing, Henri showed a natural talent that his parents quickly noticed. In 1867, a family friend brought him to the studio of the artist Pierre-Nicolas Brisset. 3 years later, he joined National Guard. In 1871, he entered the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts, where he came under the influence of such masters as Alexandre Cabanel and Eugene Fromentin, and was a student of Foran and Corman. His mentor taught Henri the sophistication and precision of classical art, including the technique of idealizing the human body. But at the same time, young Gervex was striving for new horizons, attracted by the freedom of expression he found in the works of more contemporary masters. The talented student worked with enthusiasm, continuing to improve his skills. His early works reflected an academic style, but new ideas were beginning to break through, which would later bring Gervex to the forefront of Parisian art. Henri Gervex's career is a fascinating journey where classical canons met bold innovations. In Paris, at the crossroads of styles and eras, he developed his own artistic style, which harmoniously combined academicism and new movements such as Impressionism. The first years of his career are marked by his recourse to mythological subjects and historical scenes. Gervex was able to skillfully reproduce movement and drama, which made him popular at the Salon, a prestigious art exhibition. However, his work did not stop at history or mythology. Friends, please support us with likes and subscriptions for regular content. And thank you for watching us. Gervex made his debut at the 1873 Salon at the Élysée Palace with his painting The Sleeping Bather. In the following year, he was awarded a second-class medal for Satyr and Menade, purchased by the state for the Luxembourg Palace, where the figure recalls Cabanel's training. In 1876, he met Manet and often visited the Impressionists. His painting became lighter. In 1878, his Rolla, considered his masterpiece, inspired by a poem by Alfred de Musset, caused a scandal. It was rejected by the Salon jury for the same reasons as Manet's Olympia, which represented a figure considered immoral. Put into storage, the painting received a continuous parade of visitors and onlookers. In 1879, he also painted a portrait of Madame Valtesse de la Bigny, a prostitute who often posed for artists and who inspired Zola's image of Nana. In 1880, he visited Spain, and then, in 1882, England together with Rodin. He painted the town hall in the 19th arrondissement of Paris. He returned to England again, and then to Belgium, where, on the occasion of the Triennial Exhibition of Fine Arts in Ghent, he became a Knight of the Order of Leopold. In 1884, after another trip to England, he opened his own atelier in Paris on the Route d'Antin. He then traveled to Italy with Maupassant and founded an academy with the artist Ferdinand Humbert. Gervex continued to experiment with subjects that covered various areas of life, from intimate portraits to large-scale genre scenes. His paintings were increasingly immersed in light and color, which he could skillfully combine into one harmonious image. This was the moment when the artist became not just a reproducer of reality, but its interpreter through his own prism. Over time, his talent was recognized at the highest level. In 1889, Gervex became a Knight of the Order of St. Olaf from the King of Sweden in 1890, and in 1891 he participated in the World Exhibition in Munich and became an officer of the Bavarian Order of St. Michael. Henri Gervex's personal life remained almost as mysterious and multifaceted as his paintings. Paris at the time was a living workshop where the spirit of inspiration hovered under the street lamps. But Gervex was in no hurry to reveal his personal life to the world. It remained behind the screen of his work, like a hidden canvas that the artist never completed. Gervex was known for living in a close circle of friends and colleagues, among whom one could meet many prominent artists and writers of his time. He married Henrietta Foch on February 9, 1893, and received another award, a knighthood from the Spanish king, Charles III. On December 18, 1894, his daughter Colette was born, and the following year he received another position as vice president of the National Society of Fine Arts. Meanwhile, he decorated the physical office of the Sorbonne. In 1896, on the occasion of his first trip to Russia, he was again honored with the Order of Saint Anne. He then traveled again to Italy, Turkey, and Russia, and was present at the 1900 World's Fair in Paris for the coronation of Nicholas II. After further travels, he became a Chevalier of the Legion of Honor in 1911, joined the French Institute in 1913, and was elected president of the Société de Pastellists. At the end of the Great War, he also received the Military Cross for services to the fatherland. He was often perceived as a man completely devoted to his art. Family for him does not seem to have been a source of drama or public scandal. His life remained centered on his creative pursuits and the cultural environment of Paris, where he was able to communicate with those who also sought to capture the spirit of the era on canvas. Interestingly, his paintings, despite the absence of a large number of family subjects, demonstrated a deep understanding of human nature. Women, children, the elderly, they all found their place in his works, reflecting the warmth and compassion that may have been drawn from the artist's personal experiences. However, we can only guess whether there were more romantic or family stories in his life. In his paintings, he seemed to leave the door open, but did not allow us to look too far. His last recognition came in 1925 when he was appointed an associate member of the painting section of the Royal Academy of Sciences, Letters and Fine Arts in Brussels. Henri Gervex managed to leave a bright mark on the art world, and his name stands alongside the most prominent artists of France. Already in the middle of his career, he gained a recognition that turned him from a young experimenter to one of the leading artists of his time. His works were exhibited in the most prestigious salons and galleries in Paris. Viewers came to admire his mastery of light and shadow, his realistic yet sensual portraits that seemed to breathe on canvas. One of Gervex's greatest achievements was receiving the Legion of Honor, one of France's most prestigious honors, which emphasized his significant contribution to the development of national art. This was a testament to his role not only as an artist, but also as a cultural figure who shaped the aesthetic tastes of an entire generation. Gervex became a symbol of the Parisian artistic environment of the late 19th century, and his name was inscribed in golden letters in the history of French culture. His paintings still find a place on the walls of the most famous museums in the world. The Louvre, the Musée d'Orsay, these names speak for themselves. Gervex left behind a legacy that still inspires to this day. His style, combining academicism with realistic boldness, continues to influence contemporary artists who seek to balance tradition and innovation. One of Gervex's most valuable lessons for the art world was his ability to combine the light and dark sides of human life on the same canvas. His works have always been a reflection not only of external beauty, but also of the inner essence of a person, his struggles, emotions, and experiences. His legacy lives on, reminding us that art is a mirror that reflects the complexity of our existence, and Henri Gervex was a master of this perfect play of light and meaning. Henri Gervex's life was full of unusual events that emphasized his talented nature and ability to stay true to his artistic vision despite the challenges. His career, which began as a promising one, quickly turned into a path of triumph. But despite the apparent ease, behind every successful painting was a story of struggle, courage, and experimentation. Gervex boldly broke stereotypes by raising topics that society considered too taboo for art. An interesting fact also concerns his connections with the theater. Gervex was not only a painter of paintings, but also a set designer for theater productions. His understanding of light, space, and composition fit perfectly into the theatrical world, where he helped create a magical atmosphere for performances. This experience allowed him to expand the boundaries of his own art and deepen his understanding of visual drama. Henri Gervex's legacy is an example of how craftsmanship and innovation can leave a lasting mark on the art world, no matter how time changes. After his death in 1929, his works continued to live on, silently telling stories of life, human emotion, and beauty through eternity. His legacy lives on in the paintings kept in the most prestigious museums in the world. The Louvre, the Musée d'Orsay, and other major institutions proudly exhibit Gervex's works, which are now considered masterpieces of French art of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His paintings attract visitors not only for their technical perfection, but also for the sensuality that makes his works alive and relevant even after centuries. Henri Gervex became one of the bridges between classical academic art and contemporary movements such as Impressionism and Realism. His ability to combine tradition with innovation allowed his work to influence a number of artists who followed him. He showed how art could reflect not only external beauty, but also delve into social, scientific, and social themes, expanding the idea of the artist's role in society. Gervex's legacy also lives on in his influence on contemporary artists. They study his work, admiring his mastery of light and composition, and often find inspiration for their own works in his paintings. Through his experimentation and courage, Gervex left the door open for new generations of artists who continue to explore the boundaries of the visual arts. Gervex taught us that art is not only a way to decorate the world, but also a tool for understanding its complexity, beauty, and drama. His legacy reminds us that every artist can change his or her generation, leaving behind an enduring beauty that will echo through the ages.